Revelation 18. After these things I saw another angel coming down from heaven. He had a great authority. The earth was lit up by his splendor. He cried out in a strong voice, she has fallen, Babel the Great. She has become a home for demons, a prison for every unclean spirit, a prison for every unclean hated bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of God's fury caused by her whoring. Yes, the kings of the earth went whoring with her, and from her unrestrained love of luxury, the world's businessmen have grown rich. In other words, this city actually purchased a lot of luxurious things from other countries and other merchants, other businessmen, and it helped make them rich. Then I heard another voice out of heaven say, my people, come out of her, so that you will not share in her sins. Now, this gets me, because I've never lived in the best neighborhoods. I'm not rich. I'm not even high middle class. I've always been in poverty. I've always had less than a lot of people my own age. But my point of it is that I'm not complaining about that. What I'm saying is that where I'm at, I've been lucky enough not to be in real high crime areas, but there has always been that chance. And I know for myself that if my neighbor next door is doing a sin, doesn't mean I'm doing it. So my point of it is simply this: just because you live in a city, and it could be a high crime rate, and I'm talking about a lot of sins too, high crime rate, a lot of sins in that city that's being done, everything, but that doesn't mean that you are partaking in it. So stop thinking, just because you live in the city, you're not going to be partaking in the sin. So what is this city that's different than any other city, that if you live in that city, God wants you to get out there to protect you from partaking in that city's sin? It's not just like any other city, is it? It isn't. It's like people, good people live in cities that are high crime rate, that have every sin you can think of in that city, and they don't partake in it. But there's something about this city that God wants his children to get out to protect them from ending up going and partaking in his city's sin. I also want to mention something else too. Now, America's a country. It does have a lot of sins, and there's going to be answering for the sins that they are doing. But it's not Babylon, because Babylon's a city, not a country. But okay, I forgot what I was going to say. So let's go ahead and finish reading. Maybe it'll pop back in my head. So that you will not be infected by her plagues. For her sins are a sticky mass piled up to heaven, and God has remembered her crimes. Oh, I remember. In the Bible, and I'm not saying there aren't other sins against God that these nations that were destroyed have done, but it seems like the main sin that every single nation have ever done, that God has ever destroyed or went after, was idolatry. They would draw the children of Israel away from God. And God didn't like that. See, God considers that adultery against him. Fornication. Spiritual fornication, spiritual adultery. Because God considered himself betrothed to Israel. So anytime Israel would go after another god, it was like she was cheating on him. Like she was committing adultery. So idolatry, anytime you see in the Bible where God says that we're talking about adultery and they're talking about Israel, it's usually about them going after other gods, going about them committing idolatry. And that goes for us too, the believers, and stuff. Anytime that we go after something and put it before God as if though it's God, no matter whether it's another God, uh, anything, it's considered spiritual adultery because we would be committing idolatry. Render to her as she rendered to others. Pay her back double for what she has done. Use the cup in which she has brewed, to brew her a double-sized drink. Now, what is it that she may have done that's so bad? I'm going to tell you what I think. Since going by all the other nations in the Bible and knowing that they draw people away from God in idolatry, I believe that is it. But you make that decision by reading this chapter yourself. I believe this is the reason why he's angry at this city. I believe this city has used idolatry and draw people away from God to worship something that is not of God. Give her so much torment and sorrow as the glory and luxury she gave herself. For in her heart she says, I sit a queen. I am not a widow, I will never see sorrow. Therefore her plagues will come in a single day, death, sorrow, and famine, and she will be burned with fire, because Adonai, God her judge, is mighty. The kings of the earth who went whoring with her and sharing her luxury will sob and wail over her when they see the smoke as she burns. Standing at a distance for fear of her torment, they will say, Oh no, the great city, Babel, the mighty city, in a single hour your judgment has come. Now you know we're talking about Babylon. I'm reading the complete Jewish Bible, and in here they're calling it Babel. They do a lot of Hebrew names in this Bible instead of the English version of the names and stuff. That's one of the reasons why I like it, because that way you can actually learn how to say it. Not learn the Hebrew, but learn some of the names and some of the words in Hebrew by reading this. The world's businessmen weep and mourn over her because no one is buying their merchandise anymore. Stocks of gold and silver, gems and pearls, fine linen and purple, silk and scarlet, all rare woods, all ivory goods, all kinds of things made of scented wood, brass, iron, and marble, cinnamon, cardamom, incense, myrrh, frankincense, wine, oil, flour, grain, cattle, sheep, horses, chariots, and bodies, and people's souls. It don't seem like seems like they have to have everything imported into that city, don't it? It seems like, look, first you need transportation, they need livestock, they need produce, things to make wine, so they have to import the wine into the city, and oil, fragrance, herbs, spices, marble, iron, brass, wood. That we need the stuff for. So it really seems like almost everything, if not everything, has to be imported. So what would their business be? If they're buying all this stuff from other countries and other businessmen from other countries, other places, even other cities, what is their business? What did they do to get rich so they can buy all this stuff? And people's souls. It don't say people, it says people's souls. And, listen, and people's souls. It usually would say in souls or people, but it's saying people's souls. How do you purchase a person's soul? The only way to do that is to get them to turn their heart from the true God and take allegiance to a false idol. That's the only way to do it. I know you would say, well, they're talking about slavery there. But slavery, if that's what it is just, which is bad, we know that. But if they were talking about slavery, they would say, and souls, not just people's, and not people's souls. Or they would say, and persons or people. There's another thing to think about. The fruits you lusted for with all your heart have gone, and the luxury and flashiness has been destroyed, never to return. The sellers of these things you got rich from her will stand at a distance for fear of her torment, weeping and mourning and saying, oh no, the great city used to wear fine linen, purple and scarlet. She glittered with gold, precious stones, and pearls. Such great wealth in a single hour ruined. Now, America, like I said, is a country, not a city. And America has a mix of people. We got people that have money. We got people that are poor as dirt. We got people that walk around with fancy clothes on. We got people walking around with sweatpants and torn jeans and stuff. We got people that walked over with real expensive clothes. We got people walking around with stains all over their clothes. So we are not ones that has all this stuff. We are not a city that has all that. We're a city that has a mix of it and stuff. And to be honest with you, if I seen somebody walking around with a bunch of gold and a bunch of pearls and everything and dressed up like that, I would think that they're going somewhere fancy or they're just trying to show off. Because normally if you walk out here every day, you're going to see people like me in everyday clothes. You're not going to see people in all that stuff. So this is something I think that is normal because of what their so-called business is for them to wear. All the ship's masters, passengers, sailors, and everyone making his living from the sea stood at a distance and cried out when they saw the smoke as she burned. What city was like the great city? And they threw dust on their head as they wept and mourned, saying, oh no, the great city. The abundance of her wealth made all her ship owners rich. In a single hour she is ruined. Now thinking that they probably have other places that would buy their merchandise. Why are they so sad because of this city? Did she really buy that much from them? Did she really purchase that much? Or were they partakers in her sins, along with selling the merchandise to her? Rejoice over her heaven. Rejoice, people of God. Emissaries and prophets, for in judging her, God has vindicated you. Okay? So her sins was also against the children of God. Because God vindicated us. Now, if it was just a sin that she had that was coming up there, it's just that city. So her sins had to reach out and affect people that aren't even part of that city, to the point where God had to vindicate his children. Then a mighty angel picked up a boulder the size of a great millstone and hurled it into the sea, saying, With violence like this will the great city Babel be hurled down, never to be found again. The sound of harpists and musicians, flute players and trumpeters will never again be heard in you. No workers of any trade will ever again be found in you. The sound of a mill will never again be heard in you. The light of a lamp. Wait a minute. They had to purchase almost everything, but yet they can afford to pay people to. I mean, you hire somebody to make a house or um, or anything, just about. So you got to purchase everything, but you got they're. It's not the thing about it. This almost tells you what their business most likely was. But we're going to go on. Will never again be heard in you. The light of a lamp will never again shine in you. The voice of a bridegroom and bride will never again be heard in you. For your businessmen were the most powerful on earth. All the nations were deceived by your magic spell. This city's businessmen were powerful, and they were deceived by your magic spell. So we know that there was witchcraft there, because that's what magic spell means. And their businessman was powerful. They was selling something. Now, you sell gold and wood and sheeps and anything like that, God's not going to care about that. That's nothing. But what can you sell that would make God so angry? What can this city sell that would make God so angry? And stand up to get vengeance for the sake of his children. Another thing to think about. In her was found the blood of prophets and of God's people, indeed all who have ever been slaughtered on earth. Let's see, that's where we know witchcraft, we know killing God's people. I think there's more to this. Because there's more than one way to kill a person. You can lead them, you can kill them physically, or you can lead them away from God. And in a way, kill their soul, because now you're damning their soul by leading them into hell. But we're going to leave it at this. And I'll see y'all later.